Hello, Michelle here. Welcome back to the World of Vegan YouTube channel. Today I'm coming with a slightly different type of video. So, in short, I'm having a baby! This little alien is coming to life in January. Do you want to open your present?
Yes. Tell me what you did today. Did you move off the couch at all today?
Not really.
Okay. I have a present. Felt like sharing.
You just go like this.
Is it clothes?
Maybe.
It's got to be food related. I'm on collar game. Oh,
Yeah. I've been waiting to tell you.
Oh my god. I can't believe it. Oh, congratulations, Mazel Tov.
Despite planning, despite reading a lot before I even started trying to get pregnant, I still encountered a lot of things that I didn't expect, and there was a lot that has happened in the first trimester. I'm at the actually tomorrow's my last day of the first trimester, so I wanted to just film a video and share with you guys sort of my must-have pregnancy items for the first trimester of pregnancy, vegan style. So that's what we're gonna do today, starting with one of the most obvious things, prenatal vitamins. Technically, if you're planning on getting pregnant, you should start taking prenatal vitamins pretty much as soon as you're aware that you're going to start planning. Some women even take it just like all the time, just in case they get pregnant, just to make sure your nutritional needs are covered and your body's in the best state possible. I use these from Naturello. Naturello is an awesome vitamin brand. They've actually teamed up with World of Vegan for the entire year, which is super rad. And I actually found them specifically when I was looking for awesome plant-based prenatal vitamins, and they really stood out as a, first of all, clearly labeled vegan brand. They are gelatin-free capsules, and yeah, filled with lots of good stuff. Tons and tons of good stuff. So I've been taking those from the beginning and plan to continue throughout my pregnancy. And I have one of these, which I highly recommend so that you can keep track of the vitamins that you take. So a lot of times a vitamin, even if it's a prenatal vitamin, it's not going to cover every single one of your bases. You might want to supplement some other things like B12 or other things like that. So having a little organizer is super, super handy and makes sure that I try to take my vitamins as I'm supposed to on a regular basis. So highly recommend that. But there's tons of different brands that make prenatal vitamins. This is just the one I've been using, and it's a trusted brand that I love, and yeah, it's been good to me. All my blood tests and vitals and babies looking good and healthy, so big thumbs up on that so far. Next up, I'm going to touch on some must-read books. So I picked up the obvious, What to Expect When You're Expecting. This is like the most common book out there, and for good reason. It is really thorough, really helpful, and it looks hefty, but I started reading it before I got pregnant, and I stopped when it started getting into like the first trimester and the different weeks of being pregnant. So you can kind of read it as you go along through your pregnancy and see what to expect and what should be happening with your body and what all these side effects are throughout the week by week of your pregnancy. And it's actually really fun getting to read like a new chapter every time you get into a new chapter of your pregnancy. So it is a staple. And then another one that I highly recommend, actually my doctor recommended this to me, and I was like, perfect, I was already planning on getting this book, is specifically if you're having a vegan pregnancy, which my pregnancy will be all vegan, my parenting style will be all vegan. So this is the Everything Vegan Pregnancy book. All you need to know for a healthy pregnancy that fits your lifestyle. It is written by a registered dietitian. And it also includes some recipes if you're not really sure what to eat or what to make, but it goes through, you know, all the different diet, nutrition, supplements, lifestyle, all that good stuff in here. So this is really handy as well. And then beyond books, I kind of wanted to get a journal where I could document, kind of had prompts to help me document my experience as I'm going through pregnancy. And so initially I had gotten this on Amazon, the What to Expect Pregnancy Journal and Organizer. And to be honest, I'm not a fan. I wish I hadn't gotten this, and I quickly stopped using it pretty early. So I wanted to find another one that was organized with a little bit more flexibility. Like sometimes I wouldn't take a picture that week, or I wouldn't, or for 2 months while I was feeling so sick, or I wouldn't write down, I just wouldn't journal for a period of time, and then there was a part of the book that was wasted. So I really loved this one that I also found on Amazon, and this is what I will be using going forward, and I'm actually going to go backwards as well. And it's structured a little bit differently. Like it lets you set, so every time there's a new month, you can fill in the months, and then the prompts are pretty general. Like these days I'm feeling, my body changes recently have been, I'm getting ready for baby by, doing these things. Right now I'm most looking forward to, here's things I want to remember. So it's just a lot more general, and it makes it so that it's a lot more usable. This book, or this journal, packs a lot of information. Like it has prompts like what to ask your doctor, and it has like a whole diet tracker section. But if you're not using those the whole time throughout your pregnancy, there's like 50 pages unused here, and just a lot of wasted space. And I'll see things that I would have liked to use, but I didn't know they were there because they were in the back of the book. So thumbs down to this one, and thumbs up to this one. I don't know what this one's called, but I promise I will look it up, and I will link it in the description. I'll link all of these things in the description of this video if you guys are interested in them, but I really do love this one, and it's so beautiful. It's such more of a keepsake item, so I really like that. Next up, I took little notes. Next up is clothing. Okay, so my first trimester, I did not technically gain any weight. I was so nauseous the whole time that it was really hard to eat food and keep food down. So I went up a full bra size, but I lost body weight. But even if I was losing weight, like at certain times, parts of like my clothing or tight-fitting clothing or tight-fitting pants like would feel uncomfortable. I just didn't feel myself. So going into your first trimester, or early in your first trimester when you're feeling really good, if you can go and get some cozy clothes, stretchy clothes, loose clothes, baggy clothes, but that you feel good and confident in, that will be really, really handy. There's been times where I'm like, I go to put on my shirts and I'm just like, I feel like a balloon in them. Like they don't fit right anymore. So if you're someone who wears a lot of tight-fitting clothing, tight-fitting jeans and pants and stuff, do yourself a favor, especially if you're planning on pregnancy, get some clothes before you step into it, because you might not feel great throughout your first trimester like me, and then shopping is like out of the question. I actually stepped into this game with a lot of preparedness on this end of things, because like this shirt, I bought this like a year ago at Target in their maternity section, not for any reasons to do with pregnancy, but just because I thought it was like a cozy, super cozy shirt, and I wear it all the time, pregnant or not. So if you can find things like that, it's awesome, because you'll be able to use them throughout your pregnancy. This can totally stretch with me like all the way to the end, but then I'll still love wearing it when I'm done. So that's a win-win-win. And if you're looking for clothes, I encourage you to look at secondhand shops or places online like ThredUp, where you can buy gently used or not even used or used clothing, and that way you're not buying something that you're just going to be wearing for a few months and then tossing out the door again. Okay, so those are bra. Oh yeah, and for bras, so yeah, even though I didn't gain weight, I still went up a bra size. Both the numbers went up, and so like the weight, what do you call it? The waist and the cup went up a size for me. So I had early on, before I really needed to size up, I went and I bought a bra that was a size bigger, and now I'm so grateful. It's the bras I wear all the time because they're so much more comfortable than the tight-fitting ones. And I can't even describe it. You wouldn't think like your rib cage expands, but it was one of the first signs of pregnancy for me, was like my bras were feeling really, really uncomfortable. So highly recommend that. And speaking of not feeling well, this was like the biggest thing in the first trimester that I did not know was coming. I knew morning sickness was a thing in pregnancy in general, but I didn't realize it happened so fast. So I found out I was pregnant at about 5 weeks pregnant, which is pretty typical. That's pretty much 4 or 5 weeks pregnant is the soonest you can find out, basically. So you already have a month of your pregnancy done. before that even happens. And then you have 2 more months of your first trimester. And as a week after I found out I was pregnant, the nausea hit me like a wall. I felt like I was on a boat for the next 2 months. Incredibly sick. I laid on the couch. I couldn't look at my computer. I could barely do any work, respond to emails. I didn't respond to text messages. I didn't see anyone. I barely left the house. It was difficult to shower. I actually stopped showering. I could only like take baths, and even that was miserable. I was just so sick. And I'm going to do a whole other video about my tips and tricks for, I won't say curing or making nausea go away, because it really just doesn't, at least in my experience, but for surviving it and for getting through it. So if you're someone who is on the unfortunate path of experiencing and enduring extreme nausea throughout your first trimester, I am so sorry. I feel for you. It just sucks. You just kind of have to get through it. I hope that you will be gentle with yourself, because if you have to take time off work, I cannot imagine having to go into an office and work or just work outside in the sun or just do anything feeling that horrible. It's like having the flu for 2 months. It was just the worst. But anyway, I have lots of fun tips and ideas, not fun, but helpful tips and ideas of things like ginger tea that can help with nausea a little bit, to the degree that you can help. And on that note is healthy eating in general. So obviously when you're pregnant, you want to be fueling your body with healthful foods that are packed with nutrients and just giving your baby everything that it needs and your body everything it needs as it is creating a human being. Unfortunately, a lot of times in the first trimester, if you're struggling with extreme nausea, you don't want pretty much anything. Like for me, walking into the kitchen was barely an option. Opening the refrigerator door, like I would hurl. Like I just couldn't look at food. I couldn't cook food, make food, and pretty much everything would sound nauseating and disgusting to me. And then I would all of a sudden have in my mind one thing that I was craving, like one specific thing. And I'm sure for most people who are experiencing that, they're not gonna get their paws on that one thing, but my husband was like the best. He would like cook us dinner, cook us food, just like make sure that I was eating. But needless to say, the point is, what I learned talking to doctors and just reading so much about this, because I was worried I wasn't getting all the nutrition that I needed if I was just craving kind of unhealthy foods, is that when your baby is like this small, which is basically the size it is in your first trimester, it does not need a lot. It will take what it needs from your body, and eating healthy during the first trimester is more about you, keeping you healthy, supporting you, than the baby. The baby's gonna be fine. That said, you obviously want to keep you healthy, and one of the best things that you can do if you don't know whether you're going to be struggling with nausea is make sure you go into your pregnancy already healthy. So eat a lot of healthy foods, lots of fruits and veggies, exercise, be fit. I couldn't exercise at all when I was feeling that nausea, so for 2 months I've done pretty much nothing. But before then, I was running multiple times a week. I was doing some sort of physical activity every single day. So I went into the pregnancy strong, and though I've lost muscle for sure at this point, now that I'm starting to feel better, I can pick things back up and become active again in my second trimester without starting from absolute scratch. So that's what I would recommend there. And the last thing that I recommend, if you're struggling with nausea or just having trouble keeping up with everything in your first trimester, is a autoresponder. I waited too long to put up my email autoresponder because I thought, oh, I'll feel better, or I'll be able to handle this, or I'm feeling terrible today, but I'm sure I'll be able to get to that tomorrow. And I couldn't bring myself to communicate with everyone that needed to be communicated with. I work for myself, and if I don't respond to people, they're not getting a response. And so I felt like I wish I had put an autoresponder sooner, and it didn't have to say like I'm pregnant or anything like that. I eventually put one up that basically said, my workload is really heavy right now, or my emails are, I'm trying to keep up with a lot of emails right now. It might take me a little while to get back to you, or whatever you want to say, but just let people know it'll be a bit to get back to them, and if they urgently need you, to call you or text you or something like that. I really wish that I had done that sooner, but now, even today, where I'm feeling good about half the time, that autoresponder is permanently up, so people know and expect they're not going to hear back from me right away. And that is it. I am really actually looking forward to, I'm going to film right after this video, my pregnancy nausea first trimester survival guide, which has been, you know, the biggest struggle of this trimester. For a lot of people, they don't ever experience any nausea, which I'm so happy for you if that's you. What a gift. Some people don't even know they're pregnant for like 3 or 4 months or more, which is, I can't even imagine. But that's awesome. You get to miss out on some of the worst parts of this. But I will also say I'm starting to feel so much better. As I mentioned, my second trimester starts this weekend, and I'm already starting to have way more good days. Nausea still creeps up every now and then, but I can go to the kitchen, I can make food, whatever, and we're all good. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys. I plan on, hopefully now that I'm feeling better, making lots more video updates for you guys and sort of sharing my journey so that hopefully it can help any of you mamas or future mamas out there as you embark on this journey as well. And hopefully it can also empower you and inspire you, showing that it is perfectly helpful and possible and awesome to enjoy a plant-based pregnancy. I am so loving that part of it. I feel, now that I'm feeling better, I'm eating such healthy meals and big salads and veggie stir fries and all sorts of stuff, getting tons of nutrients in my body that I know are going to benefit the baby. So it's just a win-win-win all around. Yeah, and I guess that is the one last thing, is finding a doctor. So when you find out you're pregnant, if you don't already have an OBGYN or a midwife or a doula, you'll want to find that. And it's a good idea to meet with them and let them know that you are plant-based and see how they respond to that. My OBGYN was super positive. She said, oh, I have a friend who just went through a vegan pregnancy, and she's like, let me do a little research on the specific vitamins you need to make sure you're eating, and here's a book I recommend. And she just had a bunch of tips specifically relating to vegan pregnancies. And since they're becoming more and more common, more doctors are becoming familiar with the topic, but it is very possible you'll get someone who's like, huh? Where are you going to get your protein? Where are you going to get your calcium? And like, to have to go through that while you're already going through all the challenges of having a baby can be frustrating. So finding a doctor who doesn't have to be vegan or plant-based, but is at least open and supportive of your decisions there and can just help navigate you along the way is a great idea. Okay, so I will stop there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and yeah, I hope you have a beautiful day. I still can't believe there's gonna be a human being that fits in these little adorable vegan booties soon. What? Crazy. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!